let us commence this meeting of the Tortured Poets Department.
Sure.
I was going to make it a bit, and then I couldn't even say
I was just going to say Tortured Poets Department came out and start screaming, but that also works.
You know, both were an assault on the ears of the listeners.
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
Hey, welcome to Swift Lore Podcast, where we dive into the lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely, that's why we are here.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby.
And I said doctor wrong.
Did you?
I said daughter.
Daughter.
You know what?
She is a daughter.
She is a daughter.
You're not wrong.
We're wearing blazers for anybody who's not watching, or if I didn't update the cover image for the episode in time.
I did certainly bust out my blazer for this.
I also busted out a blazer, and I definitely wore this while teaching, and I'm also realizing this does not match my shirt. And also,
you know what? I kind of love it. And Kat's wearing like a beige blazer, a beiger, grayish.
Yeah, like a camel colored blazer that I thrifted for like $5 back when I was a professor.
I'm wearing one that I bought because I had really high hopes and dreams about what I would dress like as a professional, and then I never wore a blazer because they usually make me feel like an imposter. But we're doing it today for the Torture Poets Department.
We're blazing it.
We're blazing it.
We're recording at 420. I just where do we even start talking about this album?
Where do we start?
Thank you to everyone who came to our live stream. It was so much fun. We went live like an hour before the album dropped, and we're chit-chatting with you guys. And then we were on live for the first couple of songs, and then Instagram was like, "You're just listening to the album. You can't do that on live." So then we got kicked off live. And so we have videos of us reacting to all the other songs, except for the first verse and chorus of "But Daddy, I Love Him,"
which sucks because our reactions were so good.
Because the line of us going when she says, "I'm having his baby," no, I'm not. That was the moment that I realized we weren't recording, because both of us had this look on our face of what the fuck,
and then laughing immediately.
Which is iconic.
This album is funny.
It's so good. I saw somebody say that this is the album that she made because somebody was just like, you can do whatever you put out, there's going to be people that hate it, and there's going to be a lot of people that listen intently and understand it. So just make whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And this is what she made. And I fucking love this album. I was right. This is my new favorite album.
She is all over this album. It's literally, it is pure unadulterated Taylor Swift. It's very good.
So good. And we got to talk about the 2 a.m. drop.
Yeah. So Kat and I both worked full days. Then we came home, and then we recorded an episode that you'll get next week. And then we made cookies for the live stream, listened to the album, and then at 2 a.m.
Yeah, and then we finished listening to the album. We were on the live stream chatting with people because there was the 2 a.m. countdown, and we're like, what do you think is going to happen? We were theorizing that it was going to be Rep TV or Debut TV, but it wasn't. It was 15 more songs. And then we're going to watch this, and then maybe we'll put in the clip of...
I can play it on mine because I'm connected to it.
So this is the audio, and we'll probably put in the video.
So, yeah.
Of our reactions from the live stream. Because we were like, somebody tell us what's going on. We don't want to exit the live stream to find out. So the chat told us what happened, and this was our reactions.
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
And I say, hey!
Okay.
More songs on Spotify.
What?
More songs on Spotify? Are you for real?
Oh
Are you for real?
Are you for real?
Oh my god, there's more songs. More songs. I have neighbors. Dude, there's fucking, how many more? There's fucking 14 more songs. 15, I can't do math. Holy shit, you guys, there's 14 more songs. Wait. Okay, double down on the math.
On the original, there's 15 more songs.
You got it. You got there.
Oh my god.
Okay, guys, we don't want to get copyright striked again. So we're going to have to stop the live so that we can go listen to this, because holy fucking shit. Good thing we stayed up.
Good thing we stayed up.
We might.
And then we stayed up until 4/5 a.m., which was very chaotic.
I'm still recovering. It is now 36 hours later.
Yeah,
Woof.
But I saw something about why, people kind of guess that there's going to be something at 2 a.m. because the 3-2-1s, Midnight's 3 a.m. edition obviously came out at 3 a.m., And then this is 2. So my new theory of what the 1 is whenever she drops either rep or debut, the other one's going to drop at 1 a.m. Or just like an hour after.
Makes sense.
I know time zones are a thing.
I just want to echo that live stream was so much fun.
It was so fun,
and
you
it
guys.
was so lovely to hang out with everyone.
We should do more lives, like
yeah,
at some point, just for shits and gigs.
It was really fun. Like the listening party itself, we had some snags with the copyright, and also we were like all trying to listen at the same time. But baking together was just super fun, and getting to talk to you, get to know you better.
Yeah,
being your wine ants.
Yes, somebody said that we were wine ants, and that was a great moment. And then somebody else very lightly peer pressured us to do tequila shots.
Oh, God.
It was literally me being like, all we have is liquor. And then someone was like, do liquor. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's all
like,
it took.
I don't know if you could call it peer pressure. It was like
one gentle
suggestion.
And it's
and then all I had was espresso cups because I don't know where my shot glasses are since I moved.
It was just funny because we had wine for the first drop, and then for the second drop, we were just like,
tequila.
you know what?
Which I remember just like I cried so much the second half, probably because I was drunker and tired. But like the Black Dog, I was crying so much. But I wrote down what my top 5 are as of right now. These aren't like in order, but these are my, generally speaking, favorite 5 songs. The song that I'm covering today is on here, loml. Or loml, as we like to say.
Because I can't say loml.
The Prophecy, I think, is probably actually like my number 1 favorite right now. Just something about the please, like that just scratches an itch in my brain. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the Black Dog. Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus.
Wow.
I emotionally connect to that song a lot, in ways that I won't explain. And then I really love the Albatross also because literary references. That's the one I believe that has the Shakespeare reference in it, like a rose by any other name. I lost my fucking shit when that happened because I have a Shakespeare x Taylor Swift sleeve that I'm currently building, and Taylor Swift referenced Shakespeare. Yeah. And I was drunk on tequila. Like, what am I supposed to do other than freak the fuck out?
No, true. It was made for you. This album, I think, was made for you.
I think this album was made for me. I also saw another TikTok. Sorry, I know you want to do your top 5, but
it's all good.
I forgot to write this down. So somebody was like, it's called the Tortured Poets Department, and she only mentioned like 2 poets. I'm like, but she referenced a lot of poets. Like, yeah, she name dropped like Dylan Thomas, Patti Smith,
Charlie Puth.
All poets in their own right. Stevie Nicks.
Sure.
Taylor Swift.
Clara
Bow, who is not a poet. Anyways, but like she referenced Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner with the Albatross. She referenced Shakespeare. She referenced more, and they're not on top of brain because there's 31 songs, and I cannot possibly comprehend all of them in the 36 hours since it came out.
Yep.
Especially since I've spent, half of that sleeping.
Yeah. I did, just like I did with Midnights, I took live notes for all these songs, so I have those to hold on to.
You were taking live notes while we were listening?
No.
Oh, did you watch back the videos?
No. Literally, sorry, I live listened again now that I have processed a little bit, and I've been taking notes, so I've got a decent amount. My top 5, I don't know if these are 5. These are my favorites. Down Bad.
Oh, so good.
I'm obsessed with that one.
So good.
Florida. I mean,
dun, 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 dun.
That is so good. That has
so real
drugs in it. It's so good. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me for the drama.
Oh.
I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, which is the song I'm covering today. That was an immediate, I claimed that. That was an immediate, this is me. The Black Dog.
So good.
With the Old Habits Die Screaming and the music building and all that. I mean, so great. The Prophecy.
The Prophecy is so good. Also, I talked about this in the live stream, but I'm a big Percy Jackson fan recently. And like the number of edits that I've seen of The Prophecy x Percy Jackson, so good. So good. It's especially the ones that have Percy Jackson's mom in them. If you know, you know.
Do we want to talk about the Fortnite music video?
Yes, we do.
It's great.
It's so good. Fucking Ethan Hawke is in it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to be real. I know I probably should see the Dead Poet Society because I think I would really like it. However, I haven't, but I love Ethan Hawke because he made a movie version of Hamlet, 2000 production, that I talk about all the time because it has one of my favorite versions, or probably my favorite version of the To Be or Not to Be speech ever in it. Because the To Be or Not to Be speech, like in Hamlet, is him contemplating suicide. And in the play, the king and the king's advisor, so it's Claudius and Polonius, are like listening in, but basically it's up to like production to decide if Hamlet knows that they're listening and he's pretending like he's suicidal to like trick them more, because that's kind of like how he's trying to figure out if his uncle killed his dad, is by acting crazy. And in Ethan Hawke's 2000 Hamlet, where he also plays Hamlet, it's an internal monologue and he's in a Blockbuster video and it's so camp and it's so good because it's just like, and then as he's like saying lines that kind of have parallels to different like movies and genres, he's walking around the Blockbuster and it's like looking at different videos. It's so
interesting,
so good. And he's in Tortured Poets Department for his music video.
I didn't know he was in Dead Poet Society. I
didn't
knew
either.
Robin Williams and the guy from House who plays Wilson in House. I should know his actual name and I don't.
I also, it's funny because I've talked about Ethan Hawke on this podcast before.
Yeah, well, also it's Maya Hawke's dad.
It is Maya Hawke's
and Maya Hawke is one of my celebrity crushes. So
mood.
There we go.
I'm thinking that I've referenced Ethan Hawke. I don't remember what episode it was, but I talked about how the behind the scenes of Moon Knight, because he also plays Arthur Caro. I can't remember his character's last name, the bad guy in Moon Knight. And he says in the behind the scenes, like making of, he's like, you know, a lot of us don't want to give up our pain because we identify with our hurt.
A wowza.
In the behind the scenes of a fucking Marvel TV show.
Yeah, you did mention that, now I remember.
So like, Taylor, if you're listening, girl, give us tickets to something.
Ooh.
Please.
So I'm gonna.
Also, the music video is great.
Music video is fantastic. Love the visuals. Post Malone, like
Post Baloney.
Post Baloney.
Post Abalone.
Yes, their voices go together very well.
So well.
I really liked it. I had my doubts. I'm not gonna lie. I had my doubts, but it's a vibe. I loved her taking off her makeup, quote unquote, in it, and having the like Post Malone face tattoos. Yes, that was so fun. Yeah, I have one friend who compared the music video to Frankenstein, to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Oh, very much so. I also think it's really interesting the electric chair scene, the way that like the electrodes on her head they look like a crown.
Yeah.
So I just think that's very interesting. And also like electroshock therapy was used on like hysterical women. And
there's so much to the music video.
And she did say like that the music video just references a bunch of other things on the album. I thought like in I Hate It Here, when she's like, I wish it was like I would be in the 1830s except without the racism and the being married off to the highest bidder. Like that kind of gave me the same vibe as the like electroshock therapy thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's also, I think back on like some of the most famous like confessional poetry, I think is like Sylvia Plath, Anne Sexton, like these really big poets that were in like the 50s, 60s kind of era. And they were all like in a lot of therapy, but like with therapists that were not really following conventions they're supposed to. Like I think Anne Sexton and Sylvia Plath both were sleeping with their therapists. I know after Anne Sexton died, they like released all the tapes of her therapy sessions to her family.
Wild. All of that is so wild.
So wild and so not what you're supposed to do at all. So
Nope.
I think that mental health and poetry have, especially for women, have been intertwined historically for a long time. A lot of female poets killed themselves. But yeah, she also referenced at some point Virginia Woolf is also referenced. So like, this is a dream. This album is a dream.
Yeah, and it's so good, y'all. It's just so good.
And I love how she played a lot with striking this balance between these poetic references and these like incredibly poignant lyrics and these kind of like silly like referencing Grand Theft Auto and like
Yeah, it's weird. It's got this weird tone to it because it's so sad, but also there's a really dark humor, and there's very
It's a very funny album.
Yeah.
There's a couple moments where we just started laughing out loud at the lyrics.
And there's really deep lyrics, and there's these really intense references, but there's also like a lightness to it, and then like Grand Theft Auto or American Pie, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think like it feels like she wasn't trying to be anything with this album.
Exactly.
She was just being.
And I love that. And so much of the album is about finding herself and
I think a lot of it, I talk a lot in loml about it, but like getting out of a long-term relationship and then having a really emotionally intense situationship afterwards, I think is a large through line through the album. And like after you have a big breakup that maybe doesn't die in a dramatic way, and then you go through a really intense short-term relationship that ends kind of dramatically, then you are feeling like this double grief that is, you know, the issues with that relationship ending is compounded by your last relationship that you didn't process and instead dove into something new.
Grief is huge in this album.
So, yeah.
There's a lot of talk about weddings and marriage in relation to funerals and death and killing and wanting to die, and then also drugs and addiction. It's heavy.
Our episode next week, at the beginning we went, if there's anything on Tortured Poets that relates to this, like we recorded this before the album drops, so like don't mind that.
I know. It's rough.
You guys, there's so many things. Like, I mean, there's so much. You're gonna, when you see next week's episode, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, just know that going into next week's episode that we hadn't listened to this album yet, clearly.
Yeah. Otherwise, we would have talked about it so much more.
That's it. That's all I had.
I feel like I should go first so that we can.
Yep. Let's do it in order.
So, loml.
Or loml, as I call it, because I can't speak.
That's so fair. This is track 12 on the Tortured Poets department. It was written and produced by Aaron Dessner and Taylor Swift. And I've seen a lot of stuff online about how this gives more track 5 energy than So Long London.
That's how I feel.
Because it's a sad song. It's a bummer. This was the first time that I cried listening to the album. And I also wrote down my predictions from our Tortured Poets department
good
prediction episode. So I said that I think LOML is going to stand for something besides love of my life, which I was right. It stands for loss of my life. And then I also said this one will sound the most like it could be on Folklore Evermore because of the stylization of the name in all lowercase, which I kind of stand by that because it's just a like piano in the background. And also something that I noted is that the background vocal ahs right before the bridge remind me of Cardigan, and especially like that TikTok sound that went viral. That's just the backing track of Cardigan's bridge without the main vocals over it. The like that part. So I think that sounds similar.
Interesting.
Personal connection notes. I just wrote, I overshare in next week's episode. You just you wait.
Oh. One thing we didn't mention at the top that we were just talking about on the couch, and we said, actually, let's not talk about this yet. Kat likes the second half more.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the first half more of the album, the full 31 songs.
Yeah.
Kat likes the second round more, and I like the first round more, which I think is super interesting.
Yeah. Because it's not to say that I don't like the first half or that Abby doesn't like the second half. It's just like, I don't know. I think the second half, most of my top 5 were on the second half of the album.
Yeah, and most of mine, except for Prophecy, were on the first half.
So just interesting.
Yeah.
Let us know what your favorite was. Or just your favorite track. That's probably going to be...
Probably, yeah.
That's going to have to be the question because we cannot give 31 poll answers. That's a limit of 10, like 8. So
right.
That'll be the question to answer if you're listening to this on Spotify.
I only have one note that's not about lyrics that we'll get to for LOML. See, I told you I can't say it. The opening piano reminds me of the song that went viral on TikTok, Complex, where she goes, I'm wearing his boxers.
Oh my God.
So think about that and cry.
Done. Added to the schedule. So overall, my interpretation of this song is about being in like a very emotionally intense relationship with someone who's love bombing you and claiming that you're the love of their life, and then realizing that it was just a manipulation tactic and that it wasn't real, even though it felt real to you. And also, like I mentioned before, this definitely has the energy of the like emotionally intense rebound after a long-term relationship that hurts way more because you weren't over your past relationship, even though you like kind of felt like you were, and then just kidding, you weren't. Also, I think I've hit my max of wearing a blazer because it's bothering my tattoo. Which also, if you're on the live stream, you heard about this, but we got matching tattoos. Or
we did get matching tattoos. I'm keeping my blazer on because that's where I'm at.
Mine's on my arm, and the blazer was kind of bothering it, but I got the moon, and Abby got Saturn for 7.
Sure did, and I love that for us. Saturn is the 6th planet, and also Kat and I met when we were 6, and it's very cute, and I adore it.
I'm sure we'll also post a picture of it on Instagram.
Eventually.
Okay, so into the lyrics. Who's going to stop us from waltzing back into rekindled flames? So good.
Yep.
Start out the first line, who's going to stop us? Like, that idea of, like, who's going to tell them that they can't do something that feels so easy, and that, like, especially when you're, like, hurting and your friends see you doing something that, like, maybe it will work out, but probably won't, but, like, they don't want to tell you, like, don't do it. But also we know that Taylor, from this album and just from some of her others as well, struggles a lot with like hearing other people's opinions and like needing to learn things herself, because she gets so much input on everything that she does all the time that it all just becomes white noise, and it's hard to discern what's like genuine concern and genuine advice versus people being haters.
They're going to crucify me anyway.
Exactly. So who's going to stop it from waltzing back into the rekindled flames? Dancing Phantoms is in the chorus of this. They're waltzing in, they're dancing in. We talked in the Dancing with Our Hands Tied episode about how dancing, it has been freeing in a lot of her music, and in this context it is not freeing at all. It's like they're waltzing back into rekindled flames, like they're dancing into the fire. And also like rekindled flames, so good.
Yeah.
But also the fire died and then had to be brought back to life, which is also a theme a lot throughout this album and later in the song, of like something dying and then having to come back. I'll talk more about the all too well of it all in some of the later lyrics. So who's going to stop us if we know the steps anyway? It's easier to go back to something that you know, even if you know it probably won't work out, than it is to start something new and not know how it's going to go. Because even if you know that you're going to get hurt, knowing how you're going to get hurt feels safer than trying something new to be happy. We embroidered the memories of the time I was away. I think it's so interesting, embroidered as the art form of choice there, because embroidery doesn't really like paint an accurate picture of things, and like later it talks about like impressionist painting of heaven. But like embroidery, you can't really get a clear picture of things, and then they embroidered words, so it wasn't like the memories are just words, they're not actual pictures, which you said you were the love of my life, or I was the love of your life. Like this idea of saying things and how words can be taken out of context and like used as a manipulation tactic throughout the song. So like they embroidered the memories, which are the words, we were just kids, babe. Who's making this cross-stitch pillow and selling it as 50 merch? Because I'm waiting.
Shop Finder Finds.
And also I connected this to Peter. Said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me.
Which was the song that we had to stop recording because I broke down and started sobbing.
Because I made it way sadder than it needed to be.
You really did, because I listened to it again today and I'm like...
No, I did the same thing and I was like, oh, I just made a really weird reference that made it worse.
You know, that's all good. We got through it.
What is Taylor Swift album for if not projecting my own thoughts and emotions onto it? Stitching, we were just kids, babe. I said, I don't mind, it takes time. And like saying, you know, yeah, like we hurt each other, but that was a long time ago. It takes time to grow up. And like now we've grown up and we're trying again. We're rekindling the flames. Like it's going to be fine. Time heals everything. I thought I was better safe than starry-eyed. So again, she's doing something that she's done before, and so she thought it was going to be safe because she thought she knew how it was going to go, rather than being starry-eyed and trying to start a new relationship and like falling into a genuine something. Starry-eyed. I have some starry-eyed references, but
oh, okay. Well, one thing that I noticed later is that it sounds like better safe than sorry, except she made it better safe than starry-eyed.
Yeah,
which is amazing. Taylor, you genius.
So good. And call it what you want.
Oh boy.
Starry eyes sparking up my darkest night. So if she's saying it's better safe doing this situationship that I know probably won't work out, but I know how it's going to fall apart, is better that than finding somebody that I think could be the love of my life again. And then also in The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, gazing at me starry-eyed. Just a little ouch.
Also in High Infidelity, do I really have to chart the constellations in his eyes?
True. I felt a glow like this, never before and never since. You showed me colors you know I can't see with anyone else. Yeah. Just the way that there's a specific feeling when you're in a toxic relationship or just a relationship that's not healthy that is so addictive because it like, you know, it's not going to work out and it kind of hurts. I love this album so much. Okay. The chorus time. If you know it in one glimpse, it's legendary. I didn't come here to make friends. We were born to be suburban legends. I started singing it and then I was like, I don't know why I'm singing. And then I just kept singing. Suburban legends. We were born to be suburban legends. But also, if you know in one glimpse, first sight, yeah, we loved without reason. Yeah. And Dancing with Our Hands Tied. You and I go from one kiss to getting married. It's giving love bombing. Like love bombing of the highest degree. Because it's like, oh, we did this before. We're back together. Years later. One kiss. All right. Good enough. I'm in.
True.
I also just wrote U-Haul lesbian joke.
Fast burn queen.
Fast burn queen. Okay. Still alive, killing time at the cemetery.
I love that line.
And I was thinking on the drive down, anytime now he's going to say it's love. You never called it what it was till we were dead and gone and buried. Checked the pulse and came back swearing it's the same after 3 months in the grave. But they aren't dead yet. They're never quite buried.
Yeah, there's so much death.
Should've.
Oh, God.
The tomb won't close.
Sorry, it's just so painful. I don't know what else to do. Just so much death is happening because it's like they're alive, but they're dead, but they're at the cemetery where people are dead, but they're not dead yet, but they're
not dead yet.
Dying. They're dying.
I also am thinking of like Sugar We're Going Down.
Of course.
Lay in the grass next to the mausoleum. I'm just a notch in your bedpost, but you're just a line in a song.
Actually, the lyrics are different
part of the song, but yeah, that's the part. That's the lyrics of that part.
That's the only way to sing Fall Out Boy.
It's true. In your suit and tie in the nick of time. In again, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Jehovah's Witness suit. You low down boy. London boy? Perhaps a little parallel because it sounds similar.
Could be.
But also like low down. I forgot to write down what I thought about that and now I have no thoughts.
Like going below the belt situation, like hitting where it hurts.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And also like maybe not good enough for her because sometimes people will date somebody above their league or like out of their league and then try to knock them down in confidence and to get them to be at the same level as them. You stand-up guy. Like a stand-up guy is a good person, but also stand-up comedy. Because stand-up is one word, which stand-up comedy has a dash in between it, and then like being a stand-up citizen, whatever, is 2 words separate. So she's kind of making this its own version of stand up. So it's like a bastardized version of both of those, being like, oh, you're such a good guy, or it's all a joke. And who knows which it is. Not
Like you're on a late night show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All too well.
Holy Ghost, you told me, I swear to God, you're the love of my life. Like, that's kind of the vibe that it has of, like, she's invoking the Holy Ghost, which in Christianity, it's like the Father, Son, Holy Spirit is the Holy Trinity, whatever. So she's bringing up one of these big, important religious figures and then says, you told me I'm the love of your life. You told me this.
Yeah.
She's not saying that she necessarily believed it or that he meant it. It's just, you told me. Like, these are your exact words. You said that I'm the love of your life. I didn't ask if I was. I didn't tell you to say this. Like, you said it. You said I'm the love of your life about 1 million times. It dies and it dies and it dies 1 million little times. It lies and it lies and it lies 1 million little times. There's a lot of illicit affairs parallels in this song. Just in the idea of, like, he has to keep repeating it so that she'll hopefully believe it. It's also, like, saying that he didn't say this one off as, like, something in passing and then she, like, held on to it. He kept saying it. Like, he repeated this.
Should we just spoil what we did next week?
Yeah, I did illicit affairs for next week's episode, and I'm so upset.
And I did high infidelity next week's episode.
We're so upset about it.
We're so upset.
Because I didn't know there was going to be so much cheating on this album.
Yeah. So that's why we're really frustrated about next episode is not going to have any references to this album. Just know that.
I don't want to re-record the
No.
episode because it's so much work.
So much.
But just know that we know.
Yep.
On to verse 2. Who's going to tell me the truth? Again, with the idea of, like, sometimes you're in a shitty relationship and the people around you can see that you're in a shitty relationship, but they also know that if they just tell you, like, hey, I don't think this is working, that you're just going to, like, double down and want the person more, as opposed to, like, if you learn it on your own, then you can leave. But, like, just because your friend tells you that you have a shitty boyfriend doesn't mean you're going to dump your shitty boyfriend. But when you realize that you have a shitty boyfriend, you're probably going to dump them. Not saying that from experience at all. Definitely did not date somebody that everybody told me to break up with. And then when I broke up, everybody said, thank God.
I mean, we've all been there. I think. I hope. At least we've both been there.
Both been there.
We're the only two people in this room. It's 100%.
It's true. The survey sample might be a little biased, but
it's data.
you know? Okay. Who's going to tell me the truth when you blew in with the winds of fate and told me I reformed you? Again, with her quoting back the lies that she was told by this person in the song. Fucking iconic. I love Taylor Swift so much. She's so real for this.
Yeah.
For being like, here's what you said. I came with receipts. The receipts are that you said I'm the love of your life. You told me I reformed you. So not even saying, like, that over time, like, you matured on your own, saying that, like, you specifically are the one who changed me for the better.
There's another song on this album that has the same, maybe there's several songs in the album that has the same idea, where she's trying to remind herself that it did happen, because now that she's away from it, it feels like it didn't happen. And I think that's another thing. Which is
also very illicit affairs coded.
Yeah, and that's another thing that she's doing here. She's just like, but you said you were the love of my life, right? Like, that happened. And when someone suddenly just acts like that's not the case anymore, you start to wonder if you just made it all up.
Just between us, did the love affair maim you too?
Oi.
Oi. Oi. Yeah, I mean, it does also parallel a lot of the vibe of illicit affairs, and how, like, when you can't tell anybody the truth about your relationship because everybody is telling you that the relationship is bad, then it's more isolating, because then you're just internalizing all of this, and it's easier for you to get manipulated and have somebody try to, like, gaslight you or manipulate you, because you don't have somebody that's a friend that you can be like, hey, this is this thing that the person I'm seeing said, like, what, I need to process this. I need a second
Right.
opinion. Like, you can't do that if all of your friends are just rolling their eyes and saying you should break up every time that you bring up this person.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why that if your friend is dating someone shitty, you should not do that.
No, it doesn't help.
It does not. As someone who's been on both sides of it.
Yep. It just makes them want to keep their relationship stuff secret, and then they don't end up telling you really important things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When your impressionist paintings of heaven turned out to be fakes.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, the line that made me start crying. False God, I know heaven's a thing. So she's experienced heaven before, so she knows that it exists. She knows that it's something that can be achieved, but she was tricked by his impressionist paintings of heaven. And like, impressionism is like all the little dots, and it's like very close up. You can't really tell what it is, but only as you get further away can you see what it actually is. So like, while she's in it, she can believe that this impressionist painting is heaven because that's what he's telling her. He's saying, this is a painting of heaven. And she goes, yeah, I can see it. And then when she gets out of the relationship and she backs up from it and she is looking at it as a whole, she goes, that's not a picture of heaven. Like, that's not real. You're lying to me.
Like in happiness.
Like in happiness. When I'm above the trees, I see this for what it is.
Also, this is probably not the correct take at all, but like stand-up comedians sometimes do impressions. If we want to do like
no, you know what? I'll take
double
it.
meaning in the words.
I
don't
like
know.
it. So when your impressionist paintings of heavens turned out to be fakes, well, you took me to hell too. Hell is when I fight with you in false God. Which also the heaven and hell being in one line after the other is the same as that. False God is, I know heaven's a thing. I go there when you touch me, honey. Hell is when I fight with you. So like, she's doing that same religious connotation, heaven versus hell, lie versus reality thing again. So good. And all at once the ink bleeds. The moment of realization in a relationship that things are toxic or unhealthy, and that moment where you realize like, this is never going to work out, and you can't unknow it.
I have a cursed thought.
Say the thought.
You drew stars around my scars and now I'm bleeding.
That
Maybe
is cursed.
because the rain fell and now the ink is bleeding down her arm. Cursed.
I compared some of the background vocals to Cardigan, so I think that theory holds water. A con man sells a fool a get love quick scheme.
That line is so outrageously amazing.
Look at this idiotic fool that you made me. But also the idea of getting out of a long-term relationship that fizzled out and kind of didn't end dramatically. And then you have this really emotionally intense situationship and they're love bombing you, and you fall for it because you're already in a vulnerable position emotionally. And you want to believe that you left this relationship that fizzled out where you didn't feel loved and you didn't feel valued. And suddenly there's this guy who's like, I love you. You're the love of my life. You reformed me. Like, you made me change. You made me a better person. Of course you want to believe that, because those are amazing things to hear if they're true. So why would you not want them to be true?
Yeah. And I also just love the idea of like, typically it's a get rich quick scheme. Like con men do get rich quick. And she talks about money a lot in her songs where it's like, it's not about the money, or I have the money, I got the money, I pay money, all this stuff.
Also, like Cowboy Like Me, that is about two con people falling for each other. And like, forever is the sweetest con.
Yeah.
So she's primed and ready to believe that this is real.
Right.
And then when it's not real, she realizes that she's been a fool.
Because she has money. She wants love.
Yes, that's in the prophecy.
Yeah.
Or not the prophecy. It's a different song.
One of them.
Where she says like, it's prophecy. Don't want money, just want someone who wants my company.
Oh yeah.
So good. But I felt a hole like this never before and ever since. So again, with the like intense short-term relationship after a fizzled out long-term relationship theory, like when that second breakup happens after the shorter relationship, you're feeling this double grief of both relationships ending, and they compound on each other, and it creates a particularly and uniquely devastating feeling.
Yep.
So and it hurts twice as much, and it's something that you're probably not going to replicate in the future because you learn your lesson a lot of times the first time that you get emotionally devastated. And then back to the chorus. If you know it in one glimpse, it's legendary again. What we thought was for all time was momentary. And it's interesting that she's saying we thought. We're going pronouns on it because a lot of this has been you said, you did this, I did this. But saying we thought was for all time, like it kind of is forgiving the other person a little bit. Like forgiving the other person and saying that maybe you also believe this. Like maybe we both thought this was going to be for all time, but it was just momentary. Like this relationship that she thought was going to be forever, like he was saying, you're the love of my life. By the second chorus, it's already over. Then Cemetery Line's the same. You cinephile in black and white. So a cinephile, the definition of that is a person who is fond of motion pictures. I mean, it's a very old-timey word.
And black and white films are old-timey.
Yeah. It's like you cinephile in black and white. It's becoming the thing that you're obsessed with to some degree. All those plot twists and dynamite. In The Archer, all of my heroes die all alone.
Well, also, the ties were black, the lies were white, and shades of gray.
In
Candlelight. And black and white thinking being that it's all or nothing, basically.
Yes. But also like the plot twist, dynamite, like the dramatics. I was gonna say drama, and then I was gonna say dramatics, and then I didn't say either. Like the dramatics of a movie where it's like exciting and like makes your heart race, and it's twists and turns, but like we talked about in the Archer episode, the happy ending is not what ends up in the movie. So you cinephile in black and white, like you wanted to become part of this like intense, crazy thing, and you did. Like you did it, but that's not sustainable in the real world. Mr. Steal Your Girl. Mr. Perfectly Fine. Also Trey Songz.
Whoa.
It's Mr. Steal Your Girl. Bottoms up, bottoms up.
That song is a banger.
It is absolutely a banger. But also like the Mr. Perfectly Fine, this distancing of herself from other people. It's a like Mr., you know, such a formal thing to say about like to someone. Like you don't say like, oh, this is my friend, Mr. Boyfriend. Like you don't do that unless it's a bit, which maybe it is a bit. Who knows? Because she makes also Mr. Steal Your Girl isn't all like it's capitalized, so it is like a proper noun. It is a name. Steal Your Girl, then make her cry. Like the love bombing, the turning around, the like saying that you really want someone and then turning it around and making them cry. You said I'm the love of your life. Again, repeating it, but this time she takes out the repetition of it in the million times. She's watching things fall apart, but she's holding on to what he said. Past tense. Said. Told me, you said, blah, blah, blah. That's all. It's not you're saying I'm the love of your life. It's like things are falling apart, and he stopped saying these nice things that he was saying at first.
Yeah, what's the other song on the album where she says like the way to break my cold, cold heart is to tell me you loved me?
The way I was. Oh, it's Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to break my cold, cold heart, just say I loved you the way you were. Which, ouch.
And at the end of the song, she says, just say I loved you or something like that. Like it just stops there.
And now, the bridge.
Dun, dun, dun.
You shit-talked me under the table, talking rings and talking cradles.
Ow.
Motherfucker. I gotta break the tequila back out for that.
Yeah.
To her face, he's painting this impressionist heaven that he's claiming, like, this is our heaven, like, this is working out. You're the love of my life. But, and you know, they're talking about their future. They're talking about if they're going to get married, if they're going to have kids, which we know that Taylor wants because she's talked about it in other songs. She's denied that she wanted it in Lavender Haze, but she also says, like, I wouldn't marry me either, and you're losing me. Give you my wild, give you a child in Peace.
Yeah.
But in reality, he was making fun of her for falling for his manipulation and making fun of her for falling for him.
And it's also like it's under the table, right? Which usually means you're sneaking something, like paying someone under the table, is like against the rules, against the law, basically. It's this secret conversation that they had where she could be like, no, but we were talking about rings and cradles.
Yeah.
But we can't tell anyone that because they weren't there.
And it's also worse than saying something behind someone's face or behind someone's back, because you're sitting there face to face having this conversation, and then under the table you're like passing notes or texting your friends or whatever and like shit talking.
Right.
I wish I could unrecall how we almost had it all.
Oh.
Adele, Rolling in the Deep, we almost had it all. Another poet reference. I think Adele's poetic. But just like we talk a lot about how she takes common ideas and like reframes and rephrases them, like, you know, saying, I wish I could forget all of this. Saying like, I wish I could unrecall.
Yeah.
And then also you said some things I can't unabsorb from Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus. So
I think it's interesting that she uses the word unrecall, though, because she's not even
not
saying
a word.
It's not a word, but I know maybe it's just as simple as she wanted it to rhyme. I don't know. But she didn't say, I wish it never happened. She said, I wish I could unrecall it.
Because also that, yeah, like after a breakup, when you're thinking about them all the time and you just want things to stop reminding you of them. But like every time you see XYZ, it makes you recall the memories.
Yeah.
And she's saying, I wish I could undo the associations that I have with you and with this heartbreak.
Every time you double cross my mind.
Somewhere in the haze, got a sense I'd been betrayed. Dancing phantoms on the terrace. Are they secondhand embarrassed? Her Cornelia Street apartment had a rooftop terrace, which is referenced in Cornelia Street, sat on the roof, you and I, and then also King of My Heart, up on the roof with a schoolgirl crush. And it's like these dancing phantoms, they waltzed into the rekindled flames. So I think that the dancing phantoms are the past versions of themselves. And so she's kind of saying like, if the past versions of ourselves saw what we were doing now and saw how awfully this ended, would they be embarrassed about what they're doing and how they're handling things and how they're falling into this manipulation tactic, falling into this intense relationship? If they knew how it was going to end, what would they feel about it?
And at the time when I listened to this, I also connected it to Champagne Problems with Dropped Your Hand While Dancing.
Yes.
And how that's
Left
about
you standing.
Like, yeah, out on the landing. Yeah.
Which that also reminds me, I think I talked about this on the live stream, but like I connect Cowboy Like Me, the tennis court covered up by some tent-like thing, with perhaps that party that they're at, the Being a Cowboy Like Me, is the same one that the proposal debacle happens in Champagne Problems. And this could be kind of similar of like, she sees the phantoms of, again, these like emotionally intense moments, like drop your hand while dancing on the landing.
The Taylor Swift Song-O-Matic universe.
Exactly. Song-O-Matic. I love that. TSSU.
The TSSU.
So secondhand embarrassed that I can't get out of bed because something counterfeit is dead. Like knowing that it was lies and that it wasn't real, but it still hurt so much. Like that's embarrassing. Olivia Rodrigo was right when she said love is fucking embarrassing. Because knowing that you got played, but you're so hurt anyways, even knowing that it wasn't as real as you thought it was, oof. Like, and also if you get out of the long-term relationship, you don't have a full-on breakdown about it, and then you have this like little fling, and then you have a breakdown about that. You're like, what am I doing? It was legendary. It was momentary. It was unnecessary. She's like, I could have healed without this. Like, I didn't need to do this. Why did I think a rebound was a good idea? Should have let it stay buried.
It's giving, it was rare. You were there. I remember it down the stairs and all that.
Yes. And also the idea of like rekindled flames and like, we should have let it stay buried. Regretting going back to this person that she had something with in the past and then revisited it thinking that it would be safe and like easy and it ended up being emotionally devastating instead. The final chorus. Oh, what a valiant roar. Love bombing core. It's like this big, impossible to miss declaration of like, you're the love of my life. Like this big gesture that's supposed to be like brave and courageous, but you know, the actions past those words don't stand up. It's a roar. It's a one-time big flashy thing. What a bland goodbye. Because then when things fall apart, it's just like, yeah, all right, I knew this was coming. I never thought this was real.
Yeah.
The coward claimed he was a lion. When things fall apart, he revealed he was a coward, and any sort of bravery or courage that he showed was just a show. It wasn't real. And he can say whatever he wants, say that he's brave, say that she's the love of his life, but the reality and his actions don't match that. And you can't change what you are by pretending to be somebody else.
True.
And also in the Karma music video, there's a scene that parallels The Wizard of Oz with her being Dorothy and like the other characters and stuff there. Also reflects back on like the cinephile line.
And Cowardly Lion.
Exactly.
And also Lion's Roar.
So true, bestie. I'm combing through the braids of lies. And but daddy, I love him. Dutiful daughter, all my plans were laid. Tendrils tucked into a woven braid. Grown up precocious sometimes means not grown up at all. Also in 7, your braids like a pattern, love you to the moon and to Saturn. But also like when you braid your hair, when you take it out of the braid, usually it's not super tangled up because you braided it. It's like a protective hairstyle. And so she's combing through the braids of his lies. And it's like once she had this realization that they were lies, it's easy to untangle them and find what wasn't true. But when it's in this intricate, cool hairstyle, you don't notice it.
It also makes me think about her hairstyle at the Grammys when she announced this album being like half braids
and stuff.
She was combing them out.
Yes, she's combing out the braid of lies. Which the Evermore cover is a braid.
True, yeah.
And now it's less of a braid.
Yeah.
I'll never leave. Never mind.
Oh.
More things he derogatory said. I don't have anything else because its line is just so sad on its own. I don't feel like it needs more.
No, I just love the never and never. It just great play on words. Just devastating.
So, and also, earlier in the song, she's had the like, never. I felt a glow like this never before and never since, and then I felt a hole like this never before and ever since. I'll never leave. Never mind.
Wow.
Our field of dreams engulfed in fire. Field of Dreams is also another movie, I believe. So that's another movie reference in the song, cinephile connection. But like the Field of Dreams was engulfed in fire. Like it didn't fade out. This relationship did not fade. It burned very dramatically all at once. Your arsons match your somber eyes. Struck a match and blew your mind. This is another getaway car relationship.
Yeah. It's a goddamn blaze in the dark, and you started it.
You started it. Your arsons match. You started it. Your somber eyes, like he's looking at her as if this hurts him as much as it's hurting her, but he's the one who's the one that burned it all down. And I'll still see it until I die. Like watching something go down that dramatically and burn out that intensely is going to stick with you. You're the loss of my life.
Yeah.
And that's what loml stands for.
You know, someone on TikTok called that, I think, or Instagram Reels, and I watched it, and they were like, what if it's loss of my life? And I was like, it better not be. And then it was.
And also, the fact that this is the end of the song, she's declaring it, this is the final line, like, you are the loss of my life. And it's, as opposed to him being like, him saying, you're the love of my life. And we see through his actions from the rest of the song that was a lie. But this saying, you're the loss of my life, it rings true because of the way that she's expressing her emotions for the rest of the song.
Yeah. And also calling the song LOML is so that she could have that nice little gut punch moment. But also, and I said this in our prediction episode, I think it's intentional that she shortened it because it was momentary. You know, like she shortened the love of her entire life down to 4 letters.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch. I don't really have a discussion question. I just wrote, ask something about rebounds.
Basketball.
You gotta get your
Head in the game.
I don't know. Thoughts?
Am I a cinephile? Yes, I am. I like movies. That's my thought. As for rebounds, I don't know. They're very common and they never work out.
Yeah.
And if you broke up with someone, you probably broke up for a good reason.
Yeah. Getting back together with somebody years down the line doesn't mean that you've actually, either of you have matured or changed enough for it to work the second time around.
It can work. I'm not saying
it's
never.
possible.
Never
we all
say
love
never.
a second chance romance trope.
Yeah.
But
this song is very sad.
It is. It sure is. So,
that's that.
That's loml. And now
I can do it with a broken heart. My guys.
as some people say, the only glitter gel pen song of this album.
This song is my shit. The moment I heard this song, I went, this one right here, and we have that on video. In my predictions, I said, I'm claiming this one.
And you were fucking right.
I was right. Amazing. This is a glitter gel pen song, and it sounds very Midnight's era.
It does. I have my little
Oh yeah, go
notes.
for
Mine
it.
was just, I said this was gonna be Era's tour version of Long Live. I mean, it is Era's tour coded.
It's Era's tour coded.
The video background on Spotify is Era's tour clips.
The lyric video is all clips from Era's tour.
So I was kind of right there. But I also said this is gonna be based on advice from her mom, which ironically happens later on the album. And thank you, Amy. But not here.
I also, friend of the podcast, I believe it was Haley. Someone sent us a TikTok of this person who wrote a song that she thought was what I Can Do It With a Broken Heart was going to sound like. And the lyric was, anything you can do, I can do better, and I can do it with a broken heart, was the lyric she had. And this song was incredible. It's on Spotify now. Kat's looking for it so we can tell you guys to stream it because it's amazing.
The artist is Lauren, LAURYN music is her on Instagram. It's Lauren Marie.
And this song is amazing. I just got to say it's amazing. And I love them both dearly. So go stream that. This song is the 13th track.
Slay.
On Taylor's 11th album, The Torture Poets Department, which came out on April 19th, 2024.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It sounds to me a lot like Lord's Melodrama, which makes sense because they're both produced by Jack Antonoff.
Tracks.
But there's also a lot of inspirations of Midnight's and 1989 sound. I already mentioned that the artwork on Spotify is of the Eras Tour, the lyric videos on the Eras Tour, which makes sense because the theme of the song is basically, I feel like I'm dying, but the show must go on.
Yeah.
It's pretty blatant that that's what she's talking about. She's saying, I am literally broken inside and I'm acting like I'm not because I have this tour.
Yeah.
I consulted Reddit naturally. And honestly, Reddit is a great place to go when albums first drop. I did it for Midnight's too because there's threads for each song and everyone talks about their reactions and I really enjoy reading it. And I put everyone's user ads in here. So sorry guys, if you're on Reddit, I'm coming for your ass. Just kidding. You all have amazing takes. So someone on Reddit, user Legally Blonder, said,
Love that.
It's giving the manic "This Is Me Trying" that I never knew I needed, and then the clown emoji. And I was like, is that why I love this song so much?
That's so real, though.
So real.
This is the glitter gel pen version of This Is Me Trying.
Yes, and I love This Is Me Trying, and this is, I think, has to be my favorite song on the album. I love this song.
Because also it's like she's not even trying, she's doing it.
Right.
Like, this is me doing it.
Yeah. Simple Bagel 5 said,
I am but a simple bagel.
I love this comment. They said, this one is for the Wellbutrin girlies. And they're right, as someone on Wellbutrin. And then,
you know, Taylor takes meds in the first, 2 seconds of the Fortnite music video, and then she gets
True.
unchained.
True. So, I said on the live stream, if you've ever struggled with mental health issues, own it. Who hasn't?
Been there, done that,
Been
got
there.
the I was gonna say grippy socks, but I have not had a grippy sock vacation.
I
thought that was a funny joke.
Got the medication, went to therapy.
True.
Cornballer victim 13 said Bejeweled got put in a psych ward.
Oh my God.
These comments are amazing.
It's so good.
And then a lot of people compared the song to Barbie, especially the part where she's dancing and going, does anyone ever feel like dying?
Yes.
Or anyone ever think about dying?
Yes, this is literally...
It's that. Personal connections, I feel this on a spiritual level.
Personal connections, just like me for real.
Just like me for real. And obviously I don't have a tour that I'm going on, but I think even though this is a super specific song,
everybody has their own version of the Eras tour that they're doing. Like whether it's just like going to work, going to school, just trying to get by day to day. And like when you're upset, the world doesn't stop because you're brokenhearted.
Exactly. And once you become an adult, it becomes more and more difficult to like take time off for yourself to get better. You just have to push through and do the things even though you're dying on the inside.
Yeah. Oof.
Also, I called it many episodes ago. I was talking about how I'm like, this girl's working way too hard. She cannot be okay right now.
Yes, you did.
I said that and I was correct. So me and Taylor, we got a connection going.
We do. That's true.
Also, sorry, Taylor.
Yeah.
Sorry you're having a hard time.
Sorry for
I haven't said that yet. So in terms of lyrics, first of all, the instrumental. I love how I said, in terms of lyrics, the music. This song opens with what sounds like a very muted version of the introduction to Mastermind, if you listen closely.
I'm guessing you'll talk about the in-ears thing.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
So the other thing is that you hear... Well, maybe I'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you had it. I'm sure, I was certain you did, but I wanted to bring it up just in case.
Genius mentioned that she sings Mastermind at the very end of her show on the Eras Tour right before Karma. So it's like setting this song up as what she's thinking right after the show, right before the...
Mastermind is track 13 on Midnights.
Yeah.
And this is track 13.
And this is track 13. And also, Everyone's Screaming More comes in later in this song, and it's right before she does the encore.
Yeah.
So... All right. So we start with I Can Read Your Mind, which is also a very Mastermind coded line. I can read your mind. She's having the time of her life. This is in quotes. She's having the time of her life there in her glittering prime. The lights refract sequin stars off her silhouette every night. These are all things that she thinks people are thinking she's feeling.
I wonder also if it's like actual things that she saw on like TikTok or
could be
on Twitter, wherever, that because when she first started the Eras tour, after every show she would go online and like comment on people's stuff and like their videos, and she kind of stopped doing that after a couple months. And I wonder if part of it was the cognitive dissonance of watching people say what they thought she was feeling and then her knowing internally that she was not feeling those things. And like if that would give me imposter syndrome real bad.
Oh, absolutely. Because she definitely stopped using social media. And I recommend that for everyone, honestly. Social media can be very hard for mental health. There was one show that people kept bringing up on Reddit where I guess she said, this is the happiest time of my life. And everyone was like, liar, lies. They're in her glittering prime. So just like very bejeweled, very sparkly, shiny.
They also... that line, how during Lover era, like there's an interview where she's like, I don't know how much longer people are gonna like accept me being like, you know, glittering fun prime.
Yeah.
So like the idea of her being like, I saw a lot of stuff that is saying like, oh, look at her, she's still out there, she's still in her prime, even though she thought it was past it.
Yeah.
Or worried she would be past it, but she wasn't. And so like her own words coming back to haunt her.
Right. The lights refract sequin stars off her silhouette. Like she wears a sequin bodysuit literally every night on her tour.
Like pretty much all of her bodysuits are sequined.
Yeah, it's literally on the poster right there.
But even like the red bodysuit is sequins, Midnight's is sequins, Folklore has sequins, Evermore has, like literally every single one of her costumes has sequins on it.
I tried wearing sequins today. I don't own a single sequin.
Neither do I. I don't
they
like
hurt.
the way they make me feel.
So every night she's performing, she's putting on a show, like literally and also metaphorically in this song. But I also compared it to the lovely jewel whose shine reflects on you from All Too Well, Mirror Ball, Bejeweled, obviously.
Ouch.
And then I Can Show You Lies. Like, I love that she says, I can show you lies instead of I can lie to you. Because she's never directly saying, I'm having a really hard time right now. Or
Yeah.
like she's just showing you these lies
Yeah.
through performing.
It also, there's a song that just popped in my head and it just went away. Never mind. Maybe it'll come back.
It's also that everyone thinks she's perfect all the time.
Yes.
I mean, even we are guilty of saying, like, Taylor Swift is perfect. She could do no wrong.
Yeah, like our intro, like
Yeah.
the Lord and Savior thing is a joke. Like it's a bit.
It's a joke.
But also, it's a lot to have everybody make the same joke about you being perfect all the time, I'm certain.
As someone who, I'm not going to be like, people call me perfect all the time. They don't. But, like, I act like I have it together a lot.
Mood.
And whenever people compliment me, I am just like, ooh, but I don't show you, like,
Yeah.
how many times I've cried. I haven't showed you the spreadsheet, besties. Like,
We're logging all of our cries this year in our own respective spreadsheets.
yeah.
I was going to say cry sheets, which I guess is also correct, but
I added 3 for just listening to this album.
so real.
There we go. But yeah, she's saying, I can show you lies. The standard of perfection that you have for me isn't actually real.
Yeah.
And then we get into a little 1, 2, 3, 4 moment in the background, which some people say is Jack's voice. Is it confirmed to be Jack's voice? Or
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know whose voice it is.
there's a male voice in the background that goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And I read one place that it's Jack, that he put in his own little ad lib to represent when you're on stage being counted in for the track, and someone goes 1, 2, 3, 4, so you know when to come in. Because there's a lot happening when you're performing.
If you go on like TikTok and look up Taylor Swift in-ears performance, you can hear like while people are performing, they do count-ins, and also like there will be a click track, and like if they need any cue words specifically in their in-ears so that they know what they're doing while they're performing and can hear what's going on and hit all their marks.
Right. And so on Genius, I think they said it was Jack Antonoff's voice. I'm not sure that's true. I don't think he like put this in intentionally. I think it's actually a recording, because the 1, 2, 3, 4 is slightly offbeat and just a little slow, and it drives me crazy.
So I wonder what song it's from on the Eras tour.
I wonder if someone could figure that out. That'd be great.
What song were we covering a couple weeks ago? The 1, 2, 3 fee.
1, 2, 3 feet. Me.
Never find another like me.
She only sang that once.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
In Rio, I believe.
But also 1 for the money, 2 for the show.
True. So then we get into, they call this the chorus. I'm not sure if, I think they say the chorus and the post-chorus, but to me the post-chorus is the chorus. Not that that really matters. Anyway, because I'm a real tough kid. I can handle my shit. You're on your own, kid. You always have been. There, I said it. Yeah.
I just had to have my womp womp.
We've talked a lot about her referring to herself as a kid. But You're on Your Own, Kid is all about, like, you just have to man up and do all of this stuff. You just have to. And that's what this whole song is about.
Yeah.
They said, babe, you got to fake it till you make it. And I did.
She committed to the bit, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So first of all, in Snow on the Beach, the lyric, it's fine to fake it till you make it till you do. But also, here's the thing about tours, specifically Taylor Swift's tour. There's millions of dollars and like 1 million people that are affected every single night.
Yes.
Basically, maybe not 1 million, but a lot of people. Like, she can't just take a sick day. She can't just say, I'm depressed and I can't do this tour right now, because there's all the crew, there's all the dancers, there's 80,000 people?
Yeah, and then there's also the local economies that she's impacting. People got flights, they got hotels, they got outfits, they took time off work. Like, it's all of these things. Like, it's not just a spur of the moment decision for her.
And that's every single show is millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Millions. And so she has to keep going. And
there's no other option.
And she goes, and I did it. Has she missed one show yet? No.
The only show that was canceled was First Weather
right
in Brazil.
Yeah.
And that even was a really big struggle.
A big deal. Yeah.
Which also another thing that I remember what I forgot before. There's a clip of her from the show where it was really, really hot, and the one fan, Anna, unfortunately passed away. There is a clip of her on stage where she looks like she's about to pass out, and I believe it's right before Mastermind.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Like, she looks like she kind of turns around and she just looks like she's panting. You can see her like trying to breathe.
Yeah.
And like she looks unwell.
Yeah. And I mean, even when there was torrential rain, she like delay a show by a couple hours, but she still made it happen.
Yes.
I mean,
she loves a rain show.
Works so hard and she cares so much, and you can tell because she did it all with a broken heart, you know. Next line, lights, camera, bitch, smile. Oh my God. Sorry, like
It's so funny.
It's so good. It's so camp.
'Cause also you would expect it to be lights, camera, smile, bitch, but like
right.
She didn't do that. She just kind of slightly messed it up.
Yeah.
From what you would expect.
Right. There's a lot of cameras on her. There's lots of lights flashing. We've talked about it on a lot of episodes. Paparazzi, but also her tour is being filmed. So it's like lights, camera, smile, action. Although she doesn't say action. I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't fit, I guess. But the addition of bitch in there.
Bitch.
I wonder if it's like people are calling her bitch, or if it's one of those things where you're looking at yourself in the mirror and going, bitch, you just gotta smile.
I also wonder if it's like, you know how when your friend's upset and you like don't want them to be, so you start doing like bits to make them laugh. It's like, bitch, smile. Like somebody saying that to her is like a joke of like, you're on the biggest tour in the world, like you're killing it. Like, bitch, smile. Like, what?
Yeah. Well,
like
also
supposed to be hype up speech that just doesn't work because you cannot be hyped.
Yeah. I mean, so the bitch can be used in like the you know, bitch, the way that we use it, bitch please, very casually. But the word can also, I personally hate it when like
men, derogatory,
straight men specifically call women bitches. That's something that I get really affected by, and it's because like women aren't allowed to have feelings, which we've talked about several times. So it's like if she does not smile, if she does not pretend that she's okay, people are going to say, what a bitch.
Yeah.
So it's like lights, camera, bitch, smile, because if she's not smiling, then she's a bitch. Even when you want to die. She goes straight from camp into that,
and that made me want to die.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, she's at her lowest point.
Yeah. It's the All Too Well parallels throughout this album are insane.
Yeah. He said he'd love me all his life. And this song comes right after loml. I actually said it right this time.
You did.
Thank you. I wanted to say loml, but I didn't.
Committed to the bit.
I committed. So just that connection, that absolute gut punch from the previous song into this glittery song where she's like kind of manic about it. She's just like, I'm so depressed. It's like,
yeah, literally.
Because after this heartbreaking thing, she just has to go on stage.
Yeah.
It's whiplash for us as the listener and also for her.
It reminds me of that clip from Katy Perry's documentary when she was on tour for Teenage Dream. And fucking her ex-husband, Russell, whatever, texted her right before one of her shows and said he wanted a divorce. Texted her right before one of her shows.
And she just had to put on her spinny bra.
Yeah, and she had to go out. She couldn't cancel. It was right before the show. She's sobbing backstage, but she had to go on stage. And there's a clip where she goes and she's walking to the stage and she's still crying and she's like about to go out and she dries off her eyes and she gets on her platform and she just goes full on performance mode, starts smiling.
And I mean, I get chills thinking about that every time I think about it, because that's obviously life as a performer. You have to be that way.
You have to perform.
But also life in general can be that way.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Love Actually that I think about all the time where I believe it's Emma Thompson's character. Yeah. She finds out, spoilers for Love Actually, she finds out her husband's having an affair but he doesn't know that she knows. And so she very quietly goes, I'm going to excuse myself for a moment. And she cries in her room for a second, collects herself and goes back out to just pretend she's okay for her family.
Yeah.
Whew. Oh, God.
That's so real.
So real. The next line, breaking down, I hit the floor. So there's two ways to take this. Like the, how did I go from growing up to breaking down of it all? It's like she's literally having a breakdown and hitting the floor, getting on her knees, but also hitting the dance floor. She's got several parts in the Eras tour where she does like literally hit the floor and get on her knees.
I also think like I hit the floor, I hit rock bottom.
Oh yeah.
I had something in my head a second ago and it went away. What did you say first about before?
How did I go from growing up to breaking down? From nothing new?
Oh God, I had something and I lost it, but it was good and now it's gone.
Maybe it'll come back.
Maybe it'll come back. Breaking down, I hit the floor. The prophecy. Please, I've been on my knees. Change the prophecy.
Yeah. All the pieces of me shattered as the crowd was chanting more, and for the more, there's like a ton of voices. Okay, so I already mentioned that Mastermind happens right before the encore where people want more, but also just like people are egging her on. People are saying, like, thank you so much for doing this behavior that's destroying you, but like, keep going.
Also, what she says before Karma, do you guys have time for one more song? And she says that and everybody goes, yeah, more.
Oh, gosh. All the voices that implore you should be doing more from Sweet Nothing. It's another one. The pieces of me shattered, like she talked about, being a mirror ball, being whatever, and just like breaking down, hitting the floor and shattering all across. Someone on Reddit, user Baby Bilbo Baggins, said, makes me think of the standing ovation after Champagne Problems and how emotional it must have been for her to sing initially since she left a relationship where perhaps there was a marriage that was supposed to happen and then didn't.
Yeah.
I changed the quote on that ending there because I never want to say definitively what happened in her personal life.
Because we don't know.
But
we only know what she tells us, and she has never said that directly, so.
Right. I was grinning like I'm winning. Like, similar theme. I was just acting like everything's great. I was hitting my marks. Every single night, hitting your marks on stage is basically making sure you're always in the right place, getting the right moves. And she was doing that.
For some reason, when I heard that, the performance in the Eras Tour that I think of, like, hitting the marks most intensely is Delicate, because she does the stage shatter.
Oh, yeah.
Shatter.
Yeah.
So she shatters on the floor as she's hitting her mark and shattering the floor, and she is the floor. PEMDAS.
Kat's favorite thing is using PEMDAS when it does not apply.
I use PEMDAS to mean like you can apply it to different things. That's not what PEMDAS is.
Nope.
But I can't do math. I'm gay.
Because I can do it with a broken heart, and then you get that 1, 2, 3, the man's voice again, for the title line.
She's got to hit her mark.
And she's proving that she really can do it all. I highlighted 1, 2, 3, and my note is just, he's back. Like, what? All right.
I cry so much.
Oh, this part, man. When this part
hits.
This
is trending on TikTok right now, and I love it.
Good. So the post-chorus, the instrumental sounds, it gives Bejeweled a little bit, but she's having these conflicting ideas. I'm so depressed. I act like it's my birthday every day. Like, she's saying it with a smile on her face. She's grinning like she's winning. And it's because the camera's dying. That's why we said uh-oh just then.
Sorry.
So there's these two conflicting ideas. She's celebrating herself every day, even though she's dying on the inside. I'm so obsessed with him, but he avoids me like the plague. I just put a little frowny face. Her being obsessed with him could be mocking. Like, people always think that she's obsessed with her partners, or she's acting like she's obsessed with someone who's avoiding her because she has to keep performing songs about him.
Yeah, like I saw somebody talking about, or like somebody made a clip of that with like scenes from her performing like the Lover set.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has to be like, oh, I'm so obsessed with him. I'm so obsessed with you, and boy, I understand. Or you're so obsessed with me, and boy, I understand.
Yep. I cry a lot, but I am so productive. It's an art. I don't think I have ever related to something more in my life.
No, because she's so real for that.
So real. You know you're good when you can even do it with a broken heart. Like, she's the top global artist and person of the year.
Yeah.
But this is her biggest achievement in her eyes, is covering up that heartbreak.
Yeah.
We get to the verse 2. I can hold my breath. I've been doing it since he left. Being able to hold her breath for that long is like another achievement. It's another feat. Like, it's impossible, but she's like, I can do it. If I can do all this with a broken heart, I can also hold my breath until he inevitably comes back. He's going to come back, right?
And I can't breathe without you, but I have to. From Breathe featuring Colby Calais on Fearless.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I keep finding things in drawers. Like, it's similar to what you were talking about in your half, where it's like you just keep recalling things you wish you could unrecall. You keep seeing things that remind you of the partner that you lost.
Because, like, if you're dating someone for a long time and they move out or whatever, like, they're going to leave things behind.
Right.
There's this Halsey song called 100 Letters, and she talks about how, like, you wrote 100 letters for me, just for me, and you left them in my, like, wallet, my suitcase, the pocket of my jeans, and, like, everyone's lost in a laundromat machine, but, like, she keeps finding them.
Yeah. Crucial evidence. I didn't imagine the whole thing, and hits different. I find the artifacts, cried over a hat, cursed the space that I needed. I traced the evidence, make it make some sense.
Why the wound is still bleeding.
Yep. You are the one that Anyway, sorry, I love Hits Different.
So good. It's different.
And in similar to the other song that we talked about today, I keep avoiding saying loml because I can't say it. She's trying to convince herself that she didn't make it all up because once it's gone, it's hard to believe it happened. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I can pass this test, dear John.
Never impressed with me acing your tests.
Yep. And then there's a little outro moment. The chorus and the post-chorus are the same. And then she ends with, you know you're good when you can even do it with a broken heart. You know you're good. Good. She keeps repeating this as a way to convince herself over and over.
Like, you know you're good. You're good.
You're good. You're good. Good.
Look
good.
at you. Look at you being good.
Yeah, it's like if I say it enough times, I'll believe it.
I wonder also if that's why she was on social media at the start of the Eras tour, to make sure that everybody liked it. To make sure that everybody believed that she was as happy as she said she was.
Seeking validation, man. And the way that she was able to fool people because, I'll get into this last couple notes here, because I'm miserable, haha, too real. But then also, and nobody knows, the Eras tour started on March 17th, but the breakup wasn't widely publicized until April 8th. So fans didn't know during early shows that this is what she was going through.
Yeah, and I saw something talking about how they probably broke up before the Eras tour, but they wanted it to not become public until the Eras tour had already been going a little bit, so that, because they knew that if it was the breakup was announced and then the Eras tour started, all that anybody would be talking about was the breakup. They needed the Eras tour to be the big thing first before the breakup became a thing.
Absolutely. So she fooled us all. And then
no one knows.
She ends with, try to come for my job. You can't, because she's so good at it. She can even do it with a broken heart.
This is at everybody who's like, I could write a song better than Taylor Swift.
My discussion question, what have you done with a broken heart? Like, when was a moment where you just had to, this might be a sad answer, but like, when you just had to suck it up and do it?
I'm trying to think. I don't even think, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, breakup versus just, like, broken heart, like, grief stuff. I remember, like, right after my breakup, I was in my biggest breakup, like, most heartbreaking, whatever. I was in grad school, and I was teaching, and, like, I had done this thing where at the start of every, like, day's class, I had, like, a slideshow, whatever, and on the first slide, I would put pictures of, like, my brother's dog or my partner's cats, and, like, after we broke up, I was like, shit, all my students are gonna fucking know because I've been talking about, like, oh, this is my partner's cat. And so I just, like, kind of didn't talk about it, obviously, because, like, I'm not gonna trauma dump on my freshmen.
Right.
But, like, just having to do, like, normal things
it's hard.
A lot.
Yeah. A week before I went to Eras tour, I went through a breakup, and I feel like that parallels this song so well. So that's the story that I'm going to tell. But that, and then, I think the week after that, I met Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things, which is a huge thing. And then the week after that, I saw Ed Sheeran. And so those 3 weeks of my life, I was literally just like, I'm so depressed.
That's so real.
And that's what came to mind for me. But there have been plenty of times where I have just had to keep on trucking.
Yeah.
Also, the week after Ed Sheeran was my birthday.
That's fair enough.
So it wasn't my birthday every day, but it was.
For that one day.
For that one day.
I'm thinking of this other time when my grandma passed away, and, like, obviously very heartbreaking. And, like, the place where I was working, I remember I had, like, a one-on-one with my manager, like, the day she died, before she'd already died and I didn't know yet. And I was like, in the one-on-one, I was like, hey, just so you know, like, my grandma is in hospice, like, she's gonna pass away soon, so, like, just giving you a heads up that, like, when that happens, I'm gonna obviously need time off, whatever. And he was like, yeah, of course, like, take the time you need. And so then, like, an hour later, I found out that she died, and I, like, messaged him, whatever, and was like, hello, I'm taking the rest of the day off, and, like, I'll let you know. And then the next day, I signed back into work and started working. And then, despite my manager, he was a good manager, but, like, he was saying, like, oh, if you need time, like, take time, whatever. And, like, the next day I worked a half day, and then I was just like, I'm not getting any work done. I'm not doing anything. Like, I have to take the rest of the day off. And he was like, okay, if that's what you have to do. And I'm like, so then I felt guilty having to take time off to grieve. And then I think I only took, like, that day off. Like, I don't think that I even, like, took any more time off for that.
Wow.
Because I felt guilty doing it. As opposed to my job now, I stand my manager. She didn't even, like, my grandpa passed away, and, like, I was like, I don't know how to, like, log bereavement time, whatever. And she was like, literally, do not worry about it. I'll keep track of it. You don't worry about it. Take the time you need. We stand my current boss.
Mental health days are so important. If you have employees, give them that grace, man. Sometimes you just gotta.
Because even though they can do it with a broken heart, they shouldn't have to.
They should take some time too.
So that's Tortured Poets.
Wow, what an album.
Out. And I feel like this is just a PSA that like I'm certain that we've missed stuff because again, this stuff came out yesterday. I know like listening back to some of our thoughts in the like 1989 TV episode that we did for like the vault tracks, I remember listening back and being like, oh, we kind of missed some stuff that I wish we'd said because like it was so new.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that we missed stuff. Definitely let us know like your thoughts and your opinions on things. We want to hear it, but we know that when we listen back to this episode in like a year, we're going to be like, oh, I missed this and this and this.
And we might revisit them.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Time isn't real.
It's not. Also, I'm editing this entire episode today as soon as I get home. So if the editing is sloppy, sorry.
Which it won't be because Abby slays.
Oh, thank you. I'm so depressed. It's my birthday. I cry a lot, but I'm so productive, you know?
That's so real.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you. And make sure to leave us a rating wherever you're listening. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a little written review. We love to see them. We send them back and forth with a lot of emojis anytime we get one. And also follow us on Instagram at SwiftLorePod.
And on TikTok at SwiftLorePod.
And now time for a crispy high five. Good enough. Bye.
Bye.